Welcome back, Proppers. Today we'll be working on part 12, which is the last part of our full samurai armor build. Today's project is the Wakizashi, or the samurai short sword. Unlike our katana build, this entire project will be made out of wood. We'll be starting out with some 1/4-inch oak board. The full length of the sword will be approximately 30 inches. The blade length will be 20 inches. After squaring off the ends of the board, I freehand the width and curvature of the blade. I use my bandsaw to make the rough cutout. I still haven't had a chance to change the blade, so this is going to be a little rough going here. There's no reason you have to suffer with me. I'll speed this up a bit. To smooth out the rough cut, I'm utilizing my oscillating belt sander. To bring down the thickness and create the sharp edge, I use the hand planer. It pays off to be very patient during this process, taking off as little as possible till you get the sword down to the desired thickness. At this point, I want to give you a very important piece of advice. If you have a knot inside your wood like I have here, your best bet is to just start over from scratch. I had so much hell trying to work with this knot, and at the end I pretty much ended up going back to scratch. But I'm not going to let you see that process. I found this piece of scrap oak that was very near to the size and shape that I wanted for the handle, so I decided to utilize it. A slot was cut into the oak handle so I can get a tight and secure fit for the blade. The first ½ inch of the slot will be a little wider to accommodate the blade itself. The last few inches will be more narrow to accommodate the hilt of the blade. After making the initial cuts with the bandsaw, I use a small screwdriver and my hammer to hollow out the area. After getting a snug fit between the handle and the blade, I secured them to each other with tube epoxy. All the gaps in the connections are also filled with the tube epoxy. It's important to be very careful when applying epoxy, that way you'll limit your cleanup time later. The joints can be clamped together until the epoxy dry, but since I have such a nice tight fit, I'll utilize a little blue tape. Make sure that all the joints are aligned before you set it aside to dry. I'll be using some more of the 1/4-inch oak board to make the sheath for the sword, this time utilizing the actual sword to create the outline for the sheath. A ½ inch line is created around the entire perimeter of the sword outline for the sheath. The length of the sheath is then measured out and cut. Wood putty is used in all the gaps that receive the tube epoxy, so that I can get a consistent finish when staining the completed project. I cut some curvature matching the blade in some 1/4-inch stock and stack it up just a little bit higher than the thickness of the blade. For the thickness of this blade, 2 pieces of 1/4 inch stock glued together will give me the desired height. 2 pieces of 1/4 inch stock glued together will give me the desired height. For the thickness of this blade, 2 pieces of 1/4 inch stock glued together will give me the desired height. 2 pieces of 1/4 inch stock glued together will give me the desired height. When the 1/4 inch stock is set and dried, I mark out the position of the blade on the oak board and then glue the 1/4 inch stock down to the board. The same procedure is used to get the stop points for the top of the sword. I continually remark the line for the top of the sword as I gently pull it out to make sure that through the entire motion of the sword there's no friction. Any final adjustments can be made with the utility knife or sander. A final test is made with the sword before closing in the sheath. You don't want the sword to go in too loosely. It has to be tight enough to have friction where it's not going to slide out unless you actually want it to. When the glue has set and dried, the clamps can be removed and then the sheath can be closed in. But first, the excess wood is cut off with the bandsaw and then smoothed out with my oscillating belt sander. After transferring the contours of the finished half of the sheath to the unfinished board, the two halves are glued together. When dried, we can start on the final planing and sanding. After sanding, the router is used to round off the edges. After first creating a wooden handguard for the blade, I decided to use my new vacuum former to create a mold to make a resin handguard. It was time to trim the oak handle into the form that I wanted. The edges of the handle were then rounded off with the router. The entire project was finished off with Minwax red oak stain. To preserve the grain of the wood, the stain was applied and quickly removed. The blade received one coating of high-performance black paint, then one coating of bright silver. The handguard was painted Cabernet red. One coat of Danish oil was applied over the stain. Tube epoxy was used to lock on the handguard. I use my faux leather lacing to decorate the sheath. Securing it down with instant glue. To create some emblems for the handle of the sword, I utilize my vacuum former. You can check out my channel for a full video of this vacuum former and a full review. After creating the resin molds, they were painted and attached to the handle of the sword as well as the sheath. The sword fits the sheath snugly where it won't slide out, but is easily removed. The handle will be wrapped with my pre-colored self-adhesive EVA foam. I established the seam on the bottom center of the handle. The medallions have to be cut to fit the handle, and they're applied on each side with hot glue. I temporarily apply the EVA foam wrap to the handles so that I can get the position of the first cutout for the medallion. I make the first diamond cutout freehand. Being sure that the cutout is centered on the medallion, I start securing the wrap to the handle. After getting the handle completely wrapped, a straight line is cut through both pieces to get a tight seam. The seam is locked in with hot glue. I use a square punch to get a sharp diamond impression across both sides of the handle. The cutouts are finished off with the X-Acto knife and the excess material is removed. The paint that I had inadvertently transferred onto the material with my hands is easily wiped off with denatured alcohol. This marks the end of part 12, the final part of our full samurai armor build. But stay tuned. The next video will be a full view of the completed project. I'll also have the bonus video of the waji, and you'll learn how to make the rope sandals. As always, thanks for watching and thanks for your support. I appreciate your patience for this long project. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and press the bell notification so you'll know when new videos are uploaded.